Hello, my name is Gary Lingafelter, and today I'm going to be going over the court case Marbury versus Madison. So I'm going to start by providing a summary of the case. In the last days of his presidency, John Adams nominated 42 people to serve as justices of the peace for the District of Columbia. The appointees were confirmed by Senate the day before President Jefferson's inauguration. First, John Marshall, President Adams' Secretary of State, didn't deliver all of the commissions before President Jefferson took office. Then, once inaugurated, Jefferson ordered James Madison, his Secretary of State, not to deliver those commissions. Marbury sought mandamus in the court, meaning that he wanted the Supreme Court to direct Madison, an officer of the government, to deliver his commission and basically give him his job as Justice of the Peace. The court determined three things at the end of the case. Number one, the Constitution says that President Adams' appointment and commission was enough to grant Marbury the right to his job. Number two, because Marbury and the others had the right to their positions, they had the ability to seek or sue for recourse if the position wasn't granted to them. Then number three, the Supreme Court ruled that they don't have the power to grant mandamus because they can't direct an officer of the government to do anything in particular. Basically, they couldn't force Madison to deliver his commission. Okay, so how was life in the government before the case? Before the 20th century, the Supreme Court almost never struck down laws because it didn't have the power to conduct judicial review. So how did the Supreme Court get that power? The power of judicial review is not defined within the Constitution. It actually comes from the Supreme Court itself through this case. The power was granted in Marbury versus Madison. When Marbury sought mandamus, he did it under the Judiciary Act of 1789. This granted the Supreme Court the power to direct an officer of the government to do a particular thing. This was unconstitutional and the law was stricken down. With this ruling, the Supreme Court determined that they had the power to strike down laws if they were unconstitutional. This power became known as judicial review. So what is the impact of this court case in today's government? The power of the Supreme Court to determine the constitutional validity of a legislative act, whether it be by state or federal governments, means that they can validate or invalidate any law. This does not only apply to laws. The court also has the power to review the congressional laws, state actions, federal bureaucratic agencies, and presidential actions. This power protects the American people from actions or laws that impose on their constitutional rights. So what would I change if I could change any aspect of this case? In this slide, I'm going to answer this question and close the PowerPoint. So I don't think that there's anything that should be changed about this court case. The outcome is significant. While the ability to grant mandamus would have been a great power wielded by the Supreme Court, the ability to conduct judicial review is even more empowering. It is the cornerstone of constitutional law, and it has provided a sense of direction for the Supreme Court to operate within the 21st century. On this last slide, these are the references that I used to come up with my PowerPoint and the bullet points and talking points that I had. These are just case briefs that I found on the internet, and you can find the links here on the slide.